Now I will show you a picture. That picture will explain my childhood. Actually, my house was on the banks of a sub-branch of River Periyar.
Okay.
Actually, from our land, we could jump into the river. And we even had a river gate for our family members to take bath. So, to be frank, we were not at all bothered about education at all during those days. Just before the exam, tomorrow examination means today only we used to study. And my father or mother never asked me to read. My father, though he was an uneducated man, he was highly philosophical. He used to say, if you just force a fellow to climb a tree, the moment you take the hand, that fellow will fall down. So if he wants to climb the tree, let him climb. So if he wants to study, let him study. That alone will be sustainable, or it will only stay. In case he doesn't want to study, let him don't study. That was my father's philosophical approach. And our neighborhood was also almost like that. So really, if I look back into my childhood days, I remember the river. I remember the various games we used to play in the river water. It's a fast flowing river. You won't believe the moment, the time when we started to learn walking, we learned swimming also. Almost walking, I do not remember exactly at what age I learned swimming. Because the river is nearby. Throughout the day, till the father comes with a stick in hand, we will be in the water only, in the river. Eyes and all will become reddish. Because a lot of time when you are staying in the water, your eyes will become reddish. Then there will be the the embankments of sand on the banks of the river. We'll be playing on that, even that film stunt scene and all, we will recreate there. Then nearby one mango garden is there. We'll be climbing the mango tree or hunting the birds. So only these things come to my mind actually when I think about my childhood days. Of course, some teachers, some classroom incidents are also part of the memories. But really, when I look back, I really feel that my childhood was a blessed one, a sweet one, a great one, because we really enjoyed our childhood. Now, most of us might have been in the, we might be having such memories about our childhood. But you think about the modern day child. After some 10 years or 20 years, suppose your old student comes back to you and stand in front of you, and if you ask that child, how was your childhood? I'm sure that most of them may not be having, sweet memories, might not be having sweet memories about their childhood. So today's children are actually losing their childhoods. They are under tremendous pressure. Right from LKG, the parents are pressurizing the children. LKG itself, the father wants the child to be the top scorer. Or if a child, I'll tell you one incident actually. My daughter, she got first place in a dance competition in the school. After getting the prize, after 2 days, my daughter came home and she was crying. So I asked what happened. Then she said that her friends who got the second place in dance competition, she was severely punished by her mother. You won't believe, the mother had heated up something, iron plates or something, and kept on the child's thigh for losing the first prize actually. You just imagine. So such parents are there. They all want the children to be the toppers. We teachers also give a lot of pressure to our children because we want the children to score high marks. Our class average, we are very much worried about because we are answerable to the management. Of course, it is not possible for us to free our children completely from all these tension. They have exam fear. Homework deadlines are there. All the 5 teachers will give homework on Saturday. Sunday is lost. Normally people say Sunday is meant for taking rest. Even the God has taken rest on one particular day in a week after the creation, according to the Bible. But even Sunday, our children are overburdened. Some are having entrance coaching and all connected with the science stream if you take, or up to 10th standard level if you take. Of course, some of our children will be going for CA foundation class. Sundays, they will be attending some CA foundation class, our own children. Then all the teachers, all the subject teachers will be giving homework. So, lot of tension, lot of stress the children are undergoing. So it's time for us to think about what we can do, at least to give some relief to our children, at least to make our classroom a happy classroom for our children. We need to think about that. Whatever we taught to them, AD is equal to AS or SC is equal to I or multiplier, all these things they may forget after some 10 years. Do we remember whatever our teachers taught us in our colleges and schools? I don't remember any. Whatever I teach to my children now, I have learned later just for teaching our children. Whatever our teachers taught, we don't remember. But whatever good things that happened in our classrooms, we remember. Some good experiences, some good actions by our teachers or by our peers, or maybe some outings with our classmates. So these things stay in our mind. So our today's topic is how to make our classroom a happy classroom so that the children will learn while they enjoy. Both should go together. The entertainment, the enjoyment, and at the same time, learning. Generally, our subject, economics, people generally say it's a tough subject. Mostly, if you ask even engineering graduates, they will say, sir, we had an economics paper in our engineering. It was much tougher than our engineering papers. That's what the people say. Even engineers, they have one paper. In one of the semesters, they have one paper of economics, actually. Mostly they learned our microeconomic concepts. Microeconomic concepts will be learned by them and some national income related things. Sir. So even that engineering graduates, they comment that economics was a tougher subject, a dry subject, a difficult subject. But as teachers of economics, we know that it's not correct. It's one of the interesting subjects, easiest subjects, mark scoring subjects. We know that, but the same message we should convey to our students also. Our students feel that this is an interesting subject and they should love the subject. So what can we do for that? That is what we are going to discuss now. I don't want to give any points to you. I just want to have a discussion on the topic. Can you just tell me how a happy classroom would look like? What will be the characteristic features of a happy classroom? What are your opinions? Suppose a classroom is to be happy classroom. Happy classroom in the sense that the child should love that class. The child should enjoy. The child should never feel bored. The child should wait for the next day's class. That classroom will be a happy classroom. Can you tell me what will be the characteristic features of a happy classroom? Anyone?
While teaching, we want to give a lot of examples.
We need to give a lot of real life experiences, real life examples. Yes, that's true, because economics is we can say it's a current subject, we can say. What is happening around us now, that is what we are discussing in economics. So very easily we can connect with our real life situations. Then
should be interactive, sir. Children should also be able to interact with us.
Yes, it should be a child-centered teaching learning process. Child should play the leading role. Teacher should be less active. But to be less active, we need to put more effort than being active, actually. Being active in the class, being a dictator in the class is easy. But to become a passive facilitator, it's a bit difficult, but we need to work on that. So it should be a child-centered classroom. Then, any other opinion about a happy classroom?
We should be a good listener.
Yeah, the teacher has to be
Whatever
a good
answer it
listener.
comes from
Very
the
good.
whatever answer it comes from the children, from
Yeah.
the topper to the average mediocre children also, we have
Yes.
to encourage them to say the answer. Usually I'll say,
Mm.
I am with you, please we will say the answer. One or the other way we can, that is your answer will be connected whatever I ask.
Absolutely right. We need to be a good listener. We should understand our
Please
students.
you
We
say the
should give
answer.
greater role to our students. That's true. Anything else? Okay. Here are some points connected with a happy classroom. First of all, the students should be stress-free. Tension, stress, that should not be there for the students. So we need to take steps in order to avoid this stress and tension. You know, examination is a cause of stress and tension. Always child thinks about examinations, and particularly in 11th and 12th, we frequently have examinations, tests, etc. Almost every alternative weeks, the child will be writing the examination. So that causes a lot of stress and tension, family pressure, teachers pressure. Teachers are under stress and tension. And what we do, we will transfer it to our students. So that is what we do. Whatever stress and tension we have, knowingly or unknowingly, we will transfer to our children. So we need to create a feeling in the minds of the children that examination should be like a festival. Even board exam should be celebrated like a festival. That is what our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi ji, said in one of his address to the students preparing for board examinations. You consider this examination as a festival. Can you tell me which month? Most of our festivals are connected with what? Can you tell me? With one important thing in our agricultural calendar, most of our festivals are connected with. What is it? No doubt it is harvesting.
Harvest.
You take the festivals of India, most of the festivals of India are connected with the harvesting period, because primarily our society is an agrarian society. So agricultural, agricultural operations influence the culture and the behavior of the people. Even you take Pongal, when do we celebrate Pongal? Why do we celebrate Pongal? It's like a Thanksgiving festival to Mother Nature. You know, the land has given us good harvest. So we are just expressing our gratitude towards. I used to tell our students, you know, we will celebrate a Pongal in June after board exam results are announced, because that is our harvesting. You know, nearly 12 years of their effort, they are going to harvest. So if they have carried out their agricultural work, okay, it is not agricultural work, their education related work in a systematic manner, same like a successful farmer carry out his agricultural operations, good harvest will be there. So we need not worry about the harvesting. We need to think about how we prepare for the harvest. So try to create a thought in your children's mind that examination is not a nightmare. Examination is not a hurdle. Examination is not something that threatens them. It is just a harvesting. Whatever we have done, whatever efforts we have taken, we are going to be rewarded. So we are going to receive the reward in the examination in the form of good performance. So a child properly preparing will surely get very good marks. So we need to keep on advising them to reduce their tension and stress. The students should feel safe. Physical, social, and emotional security should be there. They should see a mother or a father in the teacher with whom they can share their problems. You know, the teenagers of modern days are undergoing a lot of problems. And whom will they trust? Whom will they open up? Many of them are not able to speak openly to their parents. Lot of exploitation. Take Kerala, for example, the government has formed one committee. This committee visits the schools and talk to the children, both the boys and girls. And the psychologists are there in the committee. They speak freely with the students. And you know, after every session, 2 or 3 people go to jail, either from the family, sometimes even from the school, because the children are undergoing all kinds of exploitation, problems, difficulties, parental pressure. So they must feel that teacher is a person with whom they can share. So that will prevent the suicides also. A lot of suicide cases are reported, particularly from 11th and 12th level children. A lot of suicide cases. The main reason is they don't have anyone to open up their mouth. They don't have anyone to express their feelings, share their difficulties, trust. Why can't we become one? Even a boy of your class or a girl of your class should develop a feeling that this person is interested in me. This person will help me to tide over this problem which I am facing. They need a person. And if not we, then who else will be? Many parents are not in a position to give such a support to the children. So children should feel safe physically, socially, and emotionally. That security they must feel. So they must trust the teacher. They must develop a feeling that the teacher is interested in their welfare. And even if they are in some difficulty, some problem, teacher will be a person who will stand with them, who will support them, who will help them. If you can provide such a help to your students, you know, even after 20, 25, 30 years also, you will be their role model. You will have the place of the God Almighty in their minds. The students should feel valued. They are not humiliated. Never insult a child in the class. That's very, very important, particularly when we are dealing with 11th and 12th children. You know, our days, our school days, if a teacher scolded us in front of others, we never bothered about that. We never took it as an insult, because we were thinking that the teacher has the right to scold us. And in front of others, we don't bother at all. But today's children are different. If you just called a child in front of his or her classmates, the child thinks that it's an insult. You won't believe, you know, a few years back, it happened in a school in Kerala, higher secondary class. Just 1 minute. I am in a meeting. Correct, ma, meeting இருக்குது அதான் problem. Okay. Where are Sorry, teachers. I hope you will understand. So what I am telling you, know, in a school it happened, a teacher sent the child out for not doing something, homework or assignment or something. The child did not complete. In front of others, teacher shouted at the child and teacher sent the child out. Then teacher continued the class. Teacher was not thinking about the child who is standing outside. After some time, when the teacher came out, the child was not available there. Directly, the child walked into the nearby railway line and jumped in front of the train, sacrificed her life. The teacher is in jail. You just think about the teacher. Actually, she might have done it for the good of the child. She thought that the child will become better in studies with her actions, but she had to go to jail. Not only that, lifelong, this will be troubling the mind of the teacher. She won't get peace of mind at all. We are living in such a situation. Of course, in our schools, the security guard may stop the child, but that was a government school, open area. The child could easily go outside the school and commit suicide. Because today's children's, you know, emotional quotient, we say, is very poor. They are all born and brought up in, the so-called nuclear families with just one child or two children. Parents give too much importance to them. So even a minor act of insult, they cannot bear. So we need to be careful. Never insult a child in front of others. If the child has committed anything wrong, very well you can call the child out and speak to him or her separately. For our safety, first of all. Many teachers are in jail. So please think about that. Students should feel valued. They are not humiliated. They are all individuals. They all have that personal ego. So even a word will hurt them. Some teachers, for example, few days back it happened, one teacher got retired. I think in Karnataka or somewhere, a teacher got retired and his friends posted that photographs and all, the retirement function. You know, under that, nearly 100 children have posted comments scolding the teacher, pointing out whatever, cruelties the teacher has committed towards them. You just think about the teacher actually worked a long period of time. Think he or she might be thinking that he or she has done a lot of good things for the children, but ultimately the former students have only bad things to talk about that particular teacher. So be very careful. Do not humiliate the child in front of others. If you find any error, any shortcoming in the child's academic activities, call the child separately, speak to the child. The student should feel successful. That is also important. You know, whenever they do something at the right time, in the right manner, appreciate them in front of others. See, a boy, he is not at all regular in doing the homework or assignment, but one particular day the boy has come with the homework completed or assignment completed. Immediately appreciate that child, congratulate that child in front of others. So that will give him a very good message. And next time onwards, he will see that he is regular in doing his work. So appreciation should be in front of others, but pointing out the mistake should be done individually, not in front of others. Students should actively participate in teaching learning process that you have already told me. I think Soumya ma'am or others have already pointed out. It has to be a student-centered learning process, and they should develop positive relationships. Students should develop good relationship with the other students of the class. You know, our responsibility is not just to teach them the lessons, but to prepare them as good human beings. So that social characteristics, the characteristics needed for them to mix with the other members of the society, we need to teach in the class. Every class we will find one or two students who find it very difficult to mingle with others. Every class, one or two students will be there. They will keep on complaining about others. They develop a feeling that others do not like them. All others are against them. So such students will be there in every class. We need to identify them. We need to help them to come out of the imaginary shell within which they are living and make them social. So please help the students to develop positive relationships. So such a classroom we can call a happy classroom. It's a student-centered classroom. Students are not humiliated. Students feel safe physically, socially, emotionally. And students think that the teacher is a person whom they can trust. They can open up. They can share their problems. They can share their difficulties. And they are stress-free. And they develop positive relationship. Such a classroom is the dream of every teacher. Even we dream about such a classroom. Of course, 100% we may not be successful. But whatever we can do in this regard, we should start doing. Now, let's see what can be done. Can you suggest some steps that can be taken to make a happy classroom? What are your opinions? These are the characteristics of a happy classroom. As teachers, what steps can we initiate to achieve it? What steps can be taken in order to achieve these goals? These are some of the goals, some of the characteristics of a happy classroom. So what can we do to achieve this? We need to bring this into reality. Of course, 100% it may not be possible to us because we are also human beings. We have our limitations. But within the limitations, what steps can be initiated? Please open up. Please tell your opinions. Okay, we will go on to few topics. The first one, invest some time to get to know your students. Whenever possible, whenever we have some free time, try to speak to the children. The teacher should not be a stranger for them. You can even speak to them privately about their family or about even personal things. You know, they will start sharing with you. Directly, we cannot ask. But the moment you speak to them, you know, sometimes the children will even share their personal things. If they face any problem in the family, some children are facing problem in the family. The child, see, for example, in our school, actually, one child was doing very poorly in the class. The teacher made an inquiry. The problem is, you know, father and mother daily quarrel, daily fight. How can the child study? Actually, the child was good at studies in the lower classes, but he or she, when came to the higher classes, academically went down. So invest some time to get to know your students. Make an effort to know each and every one of your students. Speak to them whenever you are free. Not only will this allow students to feel comfortable in class, but will also help a teacher build a caring classroom community. So students will develop a feeling that this teacher cares. This teacher is interested in my future. So invest some time to know your students. Find some time to have one-to-one talk with them. One-to-one talk. It can be during a break time, or it can be after the school hours, or it can be before the school hours. Try to speak, or maybe a substitution class. You can speak to them. Normally, we'll be getting substitution classes. Those classes can be made use of. So invest some time to collect information about your students. Use humor. Use any opportunity to you for the usage of humor in the classroom. Tell a joke, a funny story, or an unforgettable experience. Relate the topic to real-world situations to better engage students. Some stories, of course, in economics, how far it is possible, I am doubtful. Soumya ma'am, can we make use of stories, jokes and all in economics? Social science, we have a lot of opportunities actually.
Not really that much, sir. And that too, class 11 and 12, we have serious
Class
stuff
11
to
and
teach.
12, we have all theories actually, theoretical
Yeah, that's right.
aspects.
That's right.
But if you take social science, you know, a lot of opportunities are there. For example, freedom of expression. I used to tell the story of the Naked King. I think you may be knowing the story of Naked King. Okay, I'll just tell in a very summarized manner, not as I say in the classroom. That will take a lot of time, half an hour or something like that. You know, one king was there in a country. He was actually too much. He was thinking too much about decorating himself. Daily, he will spend 2 hours for makeup. And the most precious ornaments, highly costly dress, all these things this king used to wear. So most of his time he will be spending on that. And if somebody comes and says, "Oh king, you are very handsome," immediately he would give a lot of wealth to that man. So such a king was ruling over a country. So as he was thinking only about this, about his personal appearance, his administration was really pathetic. He had no time to spend on the governance of the country. So country was in deep trouble. The ministers were behaving as they like. So what happened? Some young men, they have decided to do something to change their king. So one fine day morning, they came to the king's court and they said to the king, "Oh Lord, we have learned to prepare a cloth, a dress, which are generally used by the gods, not humans. So this dress will be used by the gods. So we got some blessings from the God Almighty, and now we have the ability to prepare that dress. So we would like to do it for you because you are the most handsome man on the earth now. So this dress you should be used to by the most handsome man on the world today. So we have chosen you." The king was very happy. First thing, they made a remark that he is the most beautiful or handsome person on the earth. Secondly, he is going to get the dress which are generally used by the gods. So he felt very happy. He asked, "What are the things that you need to make that cloth?" They gave a long list. Gold 10 kg, diamond this many numbers, silver this many numbers. So long list they gave. King already immediately called his finance minister and asked him to allot whatever these people asked. So everything was given. And these people said to the king, "After 10 days, we will come to you with the dress." After 10 days. So what happened? These people went to their village. 2 days over, the king was, he was very, very anxious to know what is happening there. He was not ready to wait for 10 days. He called one of his ministers and told him, "You please go and see." And of course, one more thing those young men said, "This dress can be seen only by wise men. This dress will be visible only to the wise men, not for the ordinary people." So king sent a minister. The minister went to this weaver's place and he saw these young men doing some work. They were doing this, that. They were very busy. The minister went there. He had a look. He couldn't see anything. Then the minister thought, "Now only I realized that I am a fool." But king should not come to know. Because if the king comes to know that his minister is a fool, king would chop off his head. So he thought, okay, he said to the weavers, "Yes, this color is good, but there you can make some slight change, that design you can change." Some suggestions he gave. Then he went back to the palace. He met the king. King was waiting. He told to the king, "It's really beautiful. I have never seen a dress like that. You will be like like a moon when you wear such a dress." So he gave very good remarks. Then the king was very happy because he was very happy due to two reasons. One, his minister is wise. Another one, the dress is very good. Next, he sent his commander-in-chief. Finally, the prime minister. All of them had the same experience. They didn't see anything there, but they came and gave very good report to the king because they wanted to prove that they were all wise. Otherwise, they would lose their head. Finally, what happened? On the final day, these people came. These young men came. And they were carrying something. They were acting as if they carry something. The king was eagerly waiting because 10th day, they were welcomed and they were brought to the king's court. All the members, all the courtiers, they started praising the dress, though they have not seen anything. Because they all thought that others are able to see, they are all wise. So I should not show my ignorance to others. I should also declare that I am a wise man. So everybody appreciated. By this time, what happened? The king has already arranged one procession because he wanted the people to see this godly dress. So this young man took the king inside and dressed him up, and he came out. He stood on the chariot and the procession started. The king was wearing the godly dress, and they were traveling in the chariot. What happened? On the way, people were all waiting on either side to see the king coming in the dress of the gods. Everybody was praising because they all wanted to prove that they were wise. some children were playing on the roadside. What happened? A ball by accident came to the middle of the road. The young boy came to take the ball. He had taken the ball and looked into the chariot. He saw the king. He shouted, "The king is naked." All the people, they were controlling actually. Till that time they were controlling because of they all bursted into laugh. Then king had to rush back. So here, just before teaching freedom of expression, I used to tell this story to the children actually. Of course, when children hear such stories, they will start liking our classes. Economics, how far it can be implemented, how jokes can be incorporated, but real life incidents we can take into. No doubt at all. One example I will tell you. Suppose you are going to teach Keynesian theory. Before you, say for example, Great Depression, you have to explain to the children before you start the Keynesian theory. Then only they will understand the theory better. Because the theory was introduced in order to save United States of America and other countries from the Great Depression of 1930s. John Maynard Keynes, he introduced all these tools to save the country from Great Depression. So when you are expressing or when you are explaining Great Depression, you can narrate it as something which is happening in a village. Instead of relating it to United States of America, you can just narrow it down. For example, in a village, some producers, they aimed at making profit. So what did they do? They started producing more and more. At the same time, you can take it as a small village or a small town or something like that. They started producing on a large scale. And at the same time, they reduced the wages of their workers because their aim was to get maximum profit. In marketing, we call it product philosophy. Am I right, Soumya ma'am? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, sir.
Produce, and whatever you produce will be sold. So that philosophy, old philosophy, you produce large quantity that will be sold, you can get more profit. So these producers were thinking like that, and they started producing on a large scale. They started giving lower wages to their workers. Majority of the people of the town, they are actually workers. So their wages were reduced, their purchasing power came down, aggregate demand has come down. As a result of that, the products remained unsold. Then production had to be reduced, unemployment problem came. So you can narrate the Great Depression in a very dramatic manner to the children. Then you go for the Keynesian theory, they will understand it better. They should relate it. The similar problem we would have faced due to COVID, because we know lockdown, the purchasing power of the people came down. Of course, to some extent, it didn't go to the depression stage, but some kind of deflation we faced actually due to COVID situation because people's purchasing power has come down. Many people didn't have job. Even schools, we are facing that problem. Now, when I am sitting in principal's chair, I am facing one of the biggest problem is collecting the pending fees. Last 2 years, fees pending is there for some people. Everybody comes and blames about what you say, the COVID and other related lockdown or job problems, all those things. So try to find as many examples, stories in order to explain our theories, even macro, micro and all. If you can change it into stories or some jokes, you can even go out of the topic sometimes. It's not that you have to teach. It's not that you have to teach a full 40 minutes or 45 minutes. 10 minutes, 15 minutes you can use for narrating some real incident or reading out some important newspaper items which are connected with our topic. Budget and all, when you are teaching budget, actually a lot of reports are there connected with the budget that can be read out. Economic Times, even Google, if you go for Economic Times, you will get many such news items and all. So such things can be used. Give praise. Do not underestimate the power of praise. Children have to be told that they are awesome. Even you just think about I am actually 53-year-old, but If somebody comes and tell to me, sir, your class was very good, even now I feel very happy. Am I right? See, we take sessions for the teachers, and some teachers will be sending their remarks, their comments and all. When we read those comments, we feel a lot of happiness. So then you think about a 15 or 16 or 17-year-old child. We are all matured people, but even now we like others praising us. Do you agree with me? Don't you like to be praised? Yes.
Absolutely, sir. All of us are human
Yes.
beings.
Yes, we are all. So think about our children. Say, it can be simply as saying good job or an announcement to the rest of the class. Instead of highlighting what is wrong, do the opposite and have good behavior, stand out. Students want that kind of attention and will work hard to get it. A low scorer, for example. A low scorer. Suppose one exam that fellow passed. You call him. Make him stand in front of others and say, see, he has really improved. He passed this time. So next time his marks will be still better. Because it is human tendency, you know, we are all human beings. We like to be praised by others. So please don't be a miser in praising your children, and see that you praise them in the middle of others. In the class, let others also hear. So that is another thing which you can do to bring about a happy classroom. Praise students immediately as soon as the behavior occurs. Be specific about what they did right or almost right. Share your positive feelings about what they did. Encourage them to keep up the good work, so that can be done. In case the students fail in the task given, describe the error or problem as soon as possible, clearly, without insulting them, maybe privately. Explain its negative impact to them. Suppose a child has done something wrong, explain to the child in what way it will affect him. Why you are against his action. If appropriate, take the responsibility of not making the task clear. For instance, I'm sorry, I did not communicate the instructions clearly. Even you can shoulder some responsibility for the error committed by the child. Even we can shoulder. Of course, we may not be responsible at all. Say, for example, the child didn't complete the project in time. You can tell, maybe I might not have told you the last date specifically, or I might not have, I should have reminded you. You also take up some responsibility. Go over the task in detail and make sure it is clearly understood. Express your continuing trust and confidence in the students. Don't say that you are a useless fellow. You can never achieve success in life. Don't make use of such words. Such words will hurt the child a lot. Allow students to get social. This I already told you. Provide opportunities for students to interact with the peers. This will help us in creating a good classroom environment. Actually, you know, can you tell me what makes an institution a quality institution? Suppose you are trying for college admission. What are the criteria you will take into consideration? Suppose you have to advise your child regarding the selection of a college or a university. What criteria you will take into consideration?
First, reputation of the college.
Of course, the reputation of the college. And the reputation depends on what? On what factors? First one, infrastructural facilities.
Infrastructure.
The infrastructural facilities play a very important role. That is first one. Second one, the quality of the faculty, the teaching faculty, the quality of the teaching faculty. Third and the most important one is the quality of the students studying in that particular institution. Why IITs and NITs are highly reputed? Actually, there are some private colleges which impart education better than IITs and NITs. But still, IITs and NITs command the highest reputation in our country. What may be the reason? It's because of the quality of children who join those institutions. you know, the toppers in the entrance examinations enter there. So the child will be in a highly competitive atmosphere, and how the others in the class behave, that will influence the behavior of the child. So quality of the students studying in that institution is the most important factor which we need to take into consideration. So our school also, you know, a child can do well only if the other students of the class are good, both in their academics and in their behavior. Be a role model for your students. Enter the classroom with a smile on your face, interact freely with the students, exhibit positive energy. Of course, as individuals, we may have a lot of problems. We may have sometimes family problem. Sometimes I may quarrel with my wife in the morning, then come to school. But all those things I have to leave outside the school. That's my policy, you know. Whatever tension, suppose I have some tension outside, I will leave it outside the school. And in school, if I have some tension, before going out of the gate, I will leave it here and go. Otherwise, we cannot. So teacher has to exhibit positive energy. Teacher has to become a performer. I have advised a few of my teachers recently. You know, some teachers have the habit of sitting throughout, then lecturing. Throughout the periods, the teacher will be sitting on the chair, then giving lecture to the students. I don't know how it would be effective. What's your opinion? It be effective? Of course, a teacher can sit, say, after 30 minutes of teaching, 20 minutes of teaching. We feel tired. We can take rest for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It's nothing wrong. I told my teachers also, if you are sitting, I won't mistake you. But full 40 minutes or 45 minutes, a teacher is sitting and teaching to the students. I have found even one teacher, you know, writing on the board with great difficulty like this. So let us be a role model for our students. We need to show that energy in the class. You know, we have to be very active. If we show some tiredness or some unhappiness or something in the class itself will become moody. The children will not be active at all. So teacher need to be a performer, not just a person who deliver words. I told a few of my teachers, frankly speaking, I told them, if you are simply speaking, sitting and speaking something, instead of that, I can play some audio recorder. A teacher is not needed there. So teacher with his or her body language, facial expressions, and the movements in the class, eye contact with the students, should be able to communicate with the children. We need to always maintain eye contact with each and every child in the class, you know. The child should think that the teacher is looking at him or her. So for that, our eyes will have to move to each and everyone in the class. We need to keep moving in the class. We need not be stationary at one place. So by seeing our energy level, our facial expression, the students will also be motivated. We should be always with a smiling face. So make the content easy for the student to comprehend. I'll tell you one picture. I'll show you one picture. Please interpret that picture, connecting with the education. I think the picture is visible to you.
Yes, sir.
Connected with the teaching learning process.
So we want to feed good things to the children.
We need to give good things to the children. Okay, good. Anything else?
We have to
The caring, sir. The
Caring,
mother
of
cares for the
course.
baby.
Yes, of course, caring. Then any other interpretation?
Life support.
Support, of course. Life support, of course. Rosalina ma'am, anything from your side?
That is guidance.
guidance.
Guidance, of course. But another important, whatever you said are connected with the picture, it is right. I'll just add one more, you know, the mother bird. The mother bird, when it gets a hard nut, unfortunately in the picture it is not nut, but if it gets a hard nut, the mother bird will keep that hard nut inside its mouth for some time. Mix it with the saliva. So that hard nuts will be in mother bird's mouth, mixing with the saliva for some time, then it becomes soft. So when it becomes soft, when the mother bird understands that now my child can digest it, it will pass it on to the baby bird.
Yes.
That is our work. Keynesian theory, for example. You read NCERT book, for example, you will never understand that. If you read Keynesian theory and all in our NCERT book, even we people won't understand anything. So it will be a little bit, say, my case, if you take, for long period of time, you know, I was handling only social science, not economics. So after, I mean, some 10, 15 years back, I started handling class 11, but not class 12. Because we had our principal those days, he was an economics man, he was handling class 12. So suddenly, you know, he left the school, he got retired. So in his last year, he asked me to teach some chapters because he wanted to train me to take over when he leaves. So I was finding it a bit difficult because microeconomics, those days microeconomics was in class 12 actually.
Yeah.
So microeconomics, macroeconomics, fully theory. IED means, okay, we can read, understand, we can easily teach. So first few days, it was a bit difficult for me understanding these things because, of course, my major is economics. I'm a postgraduate in economics, but these things all happened more than 2 decades back. 1991, I completed my post-graduation. And just a few years back only, I took over class 12. So whatever I learned in my college days and all, everything, my brain forgot, and only history, geography, political science, little bit of economics were only there in the brain. So I had to work a lot. You won't believe, even I was teaching in front of the mirror before going to the students. Mainly to get that confidence, teaching theories. So a teacher first should understand the concepts thoroughly. We should not have any doubt in it. We should comprehend it. We should understand it. Then we should think about how to make this easy for the children. What kind of saliva can be mixed with this so that this hard nut will become a softer one? Whether it can be a real life incident, or it can be an example, or it can be a story. So what saliva ingredients can be added so that this theory, this hard nut can be made softer? That too, you know, teaching microeconomics to class 11 students, you think about. It's very difficult. Class 11 students, teaching microeconomics is difficult because they do not have any basic knowledge in economics. Fresh they are coming. Teaching them the theories is very difficult. If you don't teach it properly, they will start hating the subjects. And the moment they start hating the subject, that's all. They will not perform well in the subject. They will not like the teacher who handled that subject. So first days are very, very important. So what ingredients can be added that we need to think about? Every content, you know, our former principal used to say, Sai sir used to say, every class is a 20-20 match. A 20-20 match, sometimes Bangladesh may defeat Australia. That may not happen in a test match. 20-20 match, you know, one player, that particular day, if he shine, that's enough. So even Australia may lose. So sometimes one class we may fail. We may not be able to deliver well. Don't worry about that. Another match is there. Next day is there. We can prepare well for that. So come out with the what ingredients can be added to make that tougher content easier. How it can be introduced. Introducing a topic is very, very important. That's the first stage. Whether we can make use of a story to introduce the topic, or we can narrate an incident to introduce the topic. We need to think a lot. So preparation is not just preparing the content. Many teachers think that the content I have to be thorough, that's enough. No. Preparation is preparing the content plus how to introduce this content, how to make it easier for my children to comprehend. That's more important actually. Please do it. Make that very hard nuts softer, easier for children to understand. You know, I think economics, they won't find it easy to understand Keynesian theory particularly. Other chapters will be little bit easier for them. In class 12 I am telling. But we need to make it easy for them. For that, we need to have a research. First of all, we have to be thorough. Never take the textbook to the class and read and explain. That's what many teachers do. Even lower classes, I used to tell the teachers, you know, never take the textbook to the classroom. Teacher's job is not to read the textbook and explain. That maybe English teachers may do, or Tamil teachers or Hindi teachers may do, but not the subject teachers. We need to learn it. All that textual content should be there in our brain so that we can deliver it with the confidence. And we need to add up whatever ingredients needed for it. So as ma'am has already, Soumya ma'am has already said, we need to follow student-centric methods. So I have just listed some of the student-centric methods. Some of them we can make use in our classes. You know, project-based learning we are already doing. Our children carry out projects. See, whenever we think about the project, we think only about the single project which children have to submit for the board practicals. I'm not talking about that, you know. Project-based learning includes even preparing charts or making PowerPoint presentations or any other, you know, writing some slogans or writing some skit or something like that. All these comes under projects, you know. It's just allowing the child to learn by himself or herself or as a group. Group-wise projects can be given. Student acts as a teacher. I do it in my classrooms. Do you experiment it? Students teaching in the class?
Yeah, seminar classes are there.
Seminar.
A small bit is given to them. They do it.
We have to do. But some teachers, you know, what they do is not economics teachers, some other subject teachers. Once we got a complaint, that is why I'm telling, the teacher will allot some chapters to children, then say that I will not teach these chapters. These are meant for you people to teach and you people to handle. No, our work we have to do. Whatever we need to do, we have to do. After that, we can give topics to children to teach. When their own classmate is teaching, they will pay more attention also. And moreover, teaching is the best way to learn.
I normally give off a part of sustainable development and all those chapters are normally tested with them because they keep learning it from their lower classes.
Very good. Yes, yes. Those topics they learn. Even our theories also, we can make them teach. Of course, we teach it, we complete everything. And revision time, you know, we can ask students to teach also. Some students teach very well. Some students teach better than some of the teachers, frankly speaking, because they have good command over the language and they prepare very well and come because they have to perform well in front of others. I will tell you my own experience, you know. Actually, when I was in my PG class, I told you I never had the habit of reading daily. That was never in my blood actually, but PG is little bit different. Lot of things are there to be studied. And we were given 2 months study holidays before the university exam. 2 months study holidays. And I had a friend, no, I have a friend because even now he is one of my best friends. He actually joined our college for MA after completing BSc Mathematics. For BSc Mathematics, one seat is there, one quota is there for MA Economics in our university actually. Every college, BSc Mathematics person will get to one seat. He didn't get admission in MSc Mathematics because his marks were low. He was more involved in student politics and other activities. So he wanted to continue in the college for his political career. So what he did, he joined MA Economics. And even after joining MA Economics, he never attended classes. Morning he will come, then we'll go out and do all these students' politics related affairs and all. So such a person. What happened, you know, this study holiday started, he came to my house and he said, Krishna Kumar, I have to pass because I have to add MA to my qualification. That's all. Anyway, I'm going to be in politics only. So I don't want to get a job or anything with this qualification, but I should be a postgraduate. You should help me. So daily what will happen, he will come to my home and we would go to the mango garden. I already told you about the mango garden. We will go there. I will teach him all, you know, post-graduation topics. I will teach him. So that became good for me. Otherwise, I would not have got good marks in my post-graduation because I would not have studied at all. I would wait for the exam to come. Next day, he is going to come. So previous day, I will prepare. I will take notes and all because I have to teach him. So night, even up to 12 o'clock, I will sit. I will go through it. I will take the notes and I will be ready morning to teach him. What happened, you know? He passed. Of course, he got only third class, but he passed the post-graduation. He is able to tell now that he is a postgraduate. And I got reasonably good marks also. So we were actually helping each other. He used to stay till evening in my house. He became very close to my mother. He used to call my mother also, as I call mother only, very close. So teaching will make us better actually. So we need to encourage our children to teach. Even they can teach in front of the mirror, if not in the class. Some tougher topics, you know, you can even advise to them. You learn it, you teach in front of the mirror. That will give them confidence, will improve their, oratory skills also. And they will become thorough in the subjects. Once you teach, you will never forget. Dramatization can be done. I think dramatization to some extent, even in economics, we can bring about, particularly IED, content and all. We can dramatize, role play, debates, discussions, all these we are telling, stories, quiz competition. Another important topic is actually visualization. What is this visualization? Teachers, any idea about visualization?
Are you talking about Chitrakatha, sir?
Not about Chitrakatha, ma'am.
Not about. Okay.
Yeah, it's
so
connected.
just visualize something.
It's like connected. Yeah,
from the textbook.
It is connected. It is connected. Visualization actually means converting words, sentences, paragraphs into images and saving in the conscious level. Because psychologists say that images stay longer in the brain than words and sentences. Just take an example, you know, after 20 years, suppose your former student comes and stand in front of you and ask, ma'am, do you remember me? You would remember their face, not their name or not anything else. Name you may forget. I used to tell them, yes, I remember you. I remember your face, but I don't know which year you studied. What's your name? All these things I don't remember. But your face, I know that you are my student. That image will stay in our minds longer. That is why, you know, one parent actually, some years back, one parent came and told me the child got very poor marks. Then I called the parent. I was talking to the parent. The parent said, sir, actually, my child is brilliant. I agreed, yes, your child is brilliant, because for every parent, his or her child is brilliant only. Then the parent was explaining the reason why he calls his child brilliant. Sir, if you see a movie, after the movie, he is able to narrate the entire story. Even full story, he is able to narrate. Any question you ask about the movie, he is able to tell. It means my child is brilliant. But lessons, my child is not able to remember. The fault is not with my child. That's what the parent wanted to say. Something is wrong in the classroom. See, if you think it is true actually. Even a below average child, a child who is getting 0 mark, you show a movie to the child, and once the movie gets over, you ask any question from the movie, that fellow will answer. It means he has concentration power. It means he has memory power. Then why don't he remember our class? Why he doesn't remember what he reads in the textbook? This is the reason. When something is converted into images, it will be deeply imprinted in our minds, and it will stay there forever. So actually, the God Almighty has given this visualization power only to human beings, not to the other animals. For example, you read a paragraph, you try to see that in your brain. We are given, I used to tell my students, we are given a projector, a camera, a screen, everything by the God Almighty. What you read, you convert it into a film. Try to see in your brain. Certain things, you know, particularly in social science, economics, we have limitations. Social science, you know, I describe Jallianwala Bagh in such a manner in the classroom that the child is able to see the Jallianwala Bagh massacre in his brain, in his mind. I still remember a teacher who taught me English actually in my school days. She teaches in such a, you know, she will create that atmosphere in the class with her words, with her actions. For example, we had a poem, Highwayman. I don't know whether you studied that poem actually in school days. A poem was there, Highwayman. This highwayman comes on horseback. So there is a line, the highwayman comes riding, riding, riding like this. So when the teacher recites that poem, you know, she makes us close the eyes and sit. To be frank, I'm telling you, know, we hear the sound of the horse entering into the room. Such an atmosphere the teacher creates. We feel that the highwayman is riding into the class. For example, you know, there is a novel called Pamela. Pamela is a romantic novel. One important incident occurred connected with this novel, Pamela. Actually, in England during those days, most of the people were uneducated. So they had a practice of one educated man reading the novel aloud for the others. So village people will assemble under a tree. One man will read the novel. Others will listen. And some great readers, they would read in such a manner that it is really happening in front of the listeners. So what happened? This is a real incident. One such a person was reading the novel aloud. Others were listening to him. And at the end of the novel, Pamela gets married.
Yes, they rang the bell.
In the same village, yes, these people ran to the parish church, rang the bell. Because they were feeling that the marriage is really taking place. So that greatness is that of the person who read the novel. And we try to become such a teacher. We should create that atmosphere in the class. Even economics also, topic-wise, we should inquire what we can do to make our children visualize the content so that they will never forget it.